Okay, so this is where we're at. I have the Microvector mounted inside the frame, and I have done most of the wiring. So if we start up this side with the ESCs, you can see M1, 2, 3 and M4 are connected. I have removed the ground connection, M5 and M6. The reason I have removed the ground is because it is not needed. I am not using optical isolated ESCs. I'm using the XS 20 amps from DYS with no built-in BEC, which I'll come to in a minute. So the signal ground will be taken through the main PDB. So I have only got the signal wires. The reason the cables I've left at full length is I'm not cutting any cables back in this installation. This frame I'm using is my bit of my test bed frame, so it's not one I build up to make look pretty, it's one I make functional basically. So what I wanted to do in this build was keep all of the cable lengths as long as I possibly could. Moving down to the RX input, I've removed all of the wires except ground, 5 volt and alley in, which feeds off to this connector over here, which is for the receiver input, which will be S-Bus. Heading over to the other side on the power, what we've done on the power is I've got voltage monitor heading down to the PDB. So that will pick up, this will be running the 3S, so it will pick up the 12 volts directly from the PDB to monitor the battery voltage. I've removed the current monitor wire, we won't be using that. The 2 grounds are soldered directly to the PDB there. The camera power in is also soldered directly with the voltage monitor in, again to the PDB, because the camera will be running directly off the board power. I have removed the VTX power in. I'm going to power the VTX straight from the PDB itself. I'd rather take that to the board than risk burning the Microvector. And then the 5 volt power, I am completely free at the moment because I haven't actually got a BEC. I've missed the fact that these ESCs don't have a BEC and I've got no power source for the Vector. Completely my fault, but it's one of those things. Just so you are aware on the power, this power voltage input here, the 5 volt here, and the 5 volt here, these are all linked internally. So 5 volt power, 5 volt power, and 5 volt power. These are all linked internally. So in theory, you could use any of these to supply power to the Microvector. It needs to be no more than, I think the manual says 6 volt. Double check that in the manual. But it needs to be 5 volt. But you could either power it through your receiver, so if you were to put the BC to the receiver and then feed it back, or you can fire it in directly on one of the wires, either this location here, this location here, or this location here. But again, it must be no more than what the manual states. Extremely important. Moving down then to the video connection, you have the camera input, which I have fitted to a connection, which my camera is already on there. So that's my quick plug for the camera. And then I haven't got a VTX yet. It's another thing I've missed out on. So my VTX wires are just coming here. But again, I've removed the VTX power wire. I will not be powering it from the Microvector. That's it on the build so far. I'm going to stop now until I order some more bits. Thanks for watching. I'll update again soon.